Good evening and welcome to the We Are Rise show. How's everybody doing? Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back and welcome in. I see a lot of people out there in the chat right now. Want to say hello to my co-host, the Wheelman, Marshall Smith. What's up? How was your weekend?
It was good, man.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you to Trump One Drew. Thank you very much for the coffees. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And
No.
the weekend was good. Beautiful weather. We're getting a big cold front coming down, Brett. It's supposed to go down to 70 degrees. So, you know, and the low
Yeah.
is going to be 61 or something. So
Yeah. It's
get
not
your,
gonna be cool on Thanksgiving, unfortunately. I was hoping it would be
well,
not
that's
in the
better
80s.
than 85.
Yeah, no humidity and stuff. I mean,
It's going to be a nice day.
yeah, that's fine. I'm glad. Welcome in tonight's show. Peace if you can keep it. That's the title for tonight. X marks the bot. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Hydra-Not a corpse. We're going to talk about everything that's going on with Doge. Is Doge really dead? Is it still alive? Is it folding into something else? Invalid authority. We're going to start with that tonight. Let me welcome in Pill.net, Rumble, and everybody on YouTube. If you're out there on YouTube, just like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, leave us a comment. Let's hear your thoughts over there. Let me know how you're liking the algorithm. Is it going well for you over here? Let's say hello over to Rumble, Nog Dog. What's up? Marshall, oh, cry me a tear with your perfect weather. Laugh out loud. FL John. Good evening, Brett and Marshall. True Terran, what's up, man? Greetings and salutations. Let me know in the chat. What are you guys doing for Thanksgiving? What are you cooking? Where are you going? Are you leaving? Are you going to get on a plane? Let me know. I want to hear about all that stuff because the best, I believe, the holiday of the year is Thanksgiving. That's what is it? The non-religious holiday. I'll put it that way. The non-religious holiday of the year, but it's my favorite holiday. Welcome in Pill.net, Wood USA. How you doing, my friend? Thank you for the 117 gold pills. Let's effing go. Thea, what's up? How you been? Thank you for the phone. Hello, are you there? I'm here. I'm starting, bro. I got so many things I got to do. So I'll get to the chat. Thea, thank you for the cookie. Who else is here? Trusty Turnip, good to see you. Patty B, I still haven't gotten your you sent me an XDM. You got to send it to me again. I don't know. My notifications are on. So whatever you sent, send it to me again or send it to me on Pilled. I don't know. I mean, just let me know. Let's see. Blue Viking, what's up? How you doing? Trump won. Good to see you. Welcome in everybody out there. Yeah. Who else is here? Alpha Bet Omega Pill. What's up? Blue Viking. Yep. I see you guys all out there. Oh, once again, thank you for coming back for tonight's show. I hope everybody enjoyed. I had a blast on Friday, I want to say, because I was thinking about it all weekend about how Ghislaine Max, when I looked into it, I'm like, how the hell did she get a dog or a puppy? But it's true. I thought you guys were pulling my leg. I mean, I really thought it was you guys were all BSing me. But that was so funny because after we got done with the show, I was looking up and seeing, I'm like, did someone really gift her? Yeah, someone did. And it was so crazy. Yeah, leave out Campbell's soup. Yeah, we're going to talk about that tonight. That's funny. What's up, Tracer C4? Welcome in. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a gold pill. Hit the bell to get notified to know when we go live. All right. If you want to help out, marshallkofi.com/surfdog74. You can do the same thing over here on Rumble with a Rumble rant. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe over there. It's important. Check out the thing. We're going to start with tonight's invalid authority, which is basically what had taken place with Comer, and we talked about what, 2 weeks ago? Not even a week or two ago. I said, is it possible that Comer is going to walk? And he walked today. He walked today. So did Letitia James because of a technicality, a procedural technicality. But we'll get to it. I'm going to show you this right off the bat. I just was, I'm not surprised in this because the question will be going forward is does this blow back onto Blondie and the DOJ? How does this reflect upon her? How about the Senate not confirming or passing a U.S. attorney? I mean, we got these temporary people that, might be ineffectual. I'm not saying that Halligan's incompetent or that she bungled the case because you have an active partisan judge that's running amok. That was appointed by the Clintons. So when you really think about it, is it really all on her? We'll get to that. I'll show you this, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. So this comes from Shadow of Ezra. So I'm going to show it to you. This was Bill Clinton appointed judge throughout the case. I said last week, does he walk? And what's going to be the fall off of this? We'll talk about that. Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James ruling the prosecutor who filed the charges was illegally appointed. Wow, the cases were dismissed without prejudice, leaving the door open for the DOJ to refile charges with a properly appointed prosecutor. Oh, how about that?
The case against former FBI Director James Comey is getting dismissed. The judge ruling the appointment of interim U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan violated the Constitution. The judge also criticized the DOJ for allowing an FBI agent who viewed Comey's privileged materials to testify to the grand jury. Now, the judge also tossed the case against Letitia James. The case.
Wow. So they just threw that case out because she violated the Constitution, because apparently, and we're going to talk about it right now, we'll get Marshall's thoughts on this, is that the Federal Vacancies Reform Act, there's only a certain amount of 120 days that, and after that, you got to be reappointed, or there has to be someone else to fill that role. So people could only, let's just say, occupy that post for that period of time. Was her post or that time up? So, I mean, this goes back to the Senate, blaming the Senate for not confirming properly a U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, or confirming her. But apparently the judge said she lacked the required experience. Wow. Now, I'm not going to take a side here on this, and I'm going to play devil's advocate in a lot of different ways. I mean, in some way, you'd have to look at the judge as a partisan judge. They just threw out the case of Letitia James, just because of this technicality. But did Halligan really, did she tank the case? Was she not really qualified? I mean, did she meet the requirements? I mean, apparently this falls back on the DOJ, right? In some way, don't you think? Because if they're aware of this Vacancy Reform Act and the time frame that she's in, President Trump is that there has to be a new one put in place. Were they just running out the time? The idea that this case now is just done for the time being, they're obviously going to appeal it, but is the appeal viable? That's something we're going to get to. I think that's going to be a sticking point. The statute of limitations, did it run out? He's fully cleared of the charges now. Doesn't mean they can bring up new charges and indict him for the same case, for the same scenario. I think in some way that you have to look at this, that the blowback was on the DOJ and something should have been done at this time. And maybe there was, because it was a partisan hack judge. This wasn't even a federal judge. I believe this was a magistrate. So I don't know what power she has other than to dismiss the case in some way based upon this ruling, but we'll have to see if it goes to an appeals court. I have more on that if you want to comment.
Yeah, there's a couple on that. This doesn't go back on Bondi, and the reason it does, and I'm not defending her, because it doesn't go back on her.
Right.
There was something I read. I don't know the details. May know more, probably know more about it than me. But the Senate or Congress did not deal with this blue slips deal.
That's what I was making the point. I think it falls on them.
And it falls on them because they
Grassley, who stick it to like 1992 talking points.
Right. So it falls on that. And the other one, right before the show started, Bondi was on air saying they've already got the appeal going. So
yeah, I'm going to play that. Right. I'm going to play that. Look, I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not accusing anybody. I mean, clearly you could see it's an activist partisan judge. And you know what? And she's just using this technicality, whether it's real or not, to basically whitewash this case. But obviously the appeal is there. Can they get the appeal? So they're going to talk about, I'm just going to cover from Axios. Federal judge on Monday tossed the Justice Department's case. Why it matters. The decision is a major rebuke of retribution against Trump, long-term enemies. So that's basically what you're hearing. Pam Bondi said during Monday's briefing, she'll take all available legal action. Driving the news, senior U.S. District Judge Cameron McGowan Curry dismissed both cases with prejudice. I conclude that all actions flowing from Ms. Hannigan's defective appointment, including securing and signing Mrs. James' indictment. See, that is going to be an issue. I wonder how this is going to be arbitrated out in the appeals court. They're going to look at this technicality and say, is it technically a technicality? I mean, is that redundant and rhetorical simultaneously? I would say that is probably going to be discussed very carefully, because if it's shown that she wasn't a defective appointment and that there is constitutional law there and she didn't violate the Vacancies Act, so to speak, well, then, you know what? I think President Trump should be calling out Chuck Grassley and the Senate saying, hey, why don't you confirm this broad? Why don't you confirm somebody to this role so she doesn't have to do an interim position? She reached the same conclusion in Comey's case. What are they saying? I'm heartened by today's victory and grateful for the prayers. That's what James said. I remain fearless in the face of this baseless charge. Comey predicted a reel shared to Instagram that Trump will probably come after me again. No shit. I mean, everybody knows that James Comey lied to Congress, and it's clear as day. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, Trump Justice Department is rushed to secure another indictment ahead. Yeah. So I mean, here's the other thing. This is another argument. Did they actually prepare for this in some way? Did they know this was coming? Did they allow this to come? Did they push the envelope, so to speak, onto this judge so they can appeal it with some type of ruling, and then from that ruling, go ahead and re-indict both James and Comey with superseding indictments and adding more to this, either going back to that magistrate or to somebody else? I wonder if that's the plan. Let's listen to Pam Bondi. Benny Johnson has this. Pam Bondi says, you know, she's got a smile on her face, so it's like almost in some way they're laughing about all this stuff. They think this is like funny, I guess. I guess it's no worries. It's not a big deal. She's got smiles and chuckles on her face.
If I could just get your reaction to the James Comey Letitia James cases being dropped today back in Washington. James Comey put out a video. He said this matters most because a message has to be sent. The President of the United States cannot use the Department of Justice to target his political enemies. Your reaction to the cases being dropped into that specific message?
Sure, we'll be taking all available legal action, including an immediate appeal to hold Letitia James and James Comey accountable for their unlawful conduct.
What is your reaction to his statement?
I'm going to keep going on this. I'm not worried about someone who has been charged with a very serious crime. His alleged actions were a betrayal of public trust.
Wow. So, I mean, she looks like she's not worried about this at all. That that you can now see that from, I guess, her viewpoint, her vantage point, and how she looks. She's basically saying, look, we expected this, and most likely we'll get the appeal that's going to be in our favor, re-indict Comey and James, and this game goes on. So I guess in some way that they knew this was coming, and they planned for it, or this was exactly what they wanted. For whatever reason, this could have been a trap per se set up, knowing full well that he's going to have to come back around to be re-indicted for either superseding in charges, for the current charges, or something else. So let's see where that's going to go, Marshall.
Yeah, by the look on their body language and all that, the guy behind her as well, it looks like they just set all this thing up to move on to something bigger and better. Like you
I
were
think so
saying.
too. Yep.
That they're going to add more and it's going to elevate. You've just discovered another judge, whatever. You've got that. So, yeah, and then it'll just continue to move forward, probably on a higher level.
Well, the thing is, on the appeal, does that go back to that magistrate? It might not. They might find another judge to go to, because if you really think about it, if she's saying this is a technicality and they send it back to the same judge, well, then the judge is going to be forced to take the case when the appeals court comes back and says, no, you made a mistake here. Could they ask for another judge? Possibly. I mean, this was a magistrate, so I don't know how this is going to go forward in some way. But yeah, I mean, the terms incompetent, boob, inept really is not playing a role in this moment. I mean, because I could see a lot of people were really in defense of Bondi recently, and it seems to me that there are not too many people coming after her for this. They see the judge for who it is, and they say, look, and here's the other argument. I mean, this is another example of like moving forward. We have to arrest these activist judges. A lot of these judges that weren't appointed, that basically this one was a Clinton judge. But when you look at all the other judges that were 249 per se under Biden and the auto pen, how many of those people are going to continue on? I mean, can we say for sure or certain that some of them, or not all of them, are going to be impeached, removed? I don't know. Is this going to be a blanket impeachment? I don't know if they have a list of what they're targeting, but this, this again keeps continuing on. It seems like we can never get to the end of this. So the frustration sets in. It really does set in. And you wonder why there's so many people on X that are black-pilled. And they're like, I'm not changing my tune. I'm this attitude, nothing. We're not going to get anything out of this stuff. I don't know. I think there are some things that are being exposed right now. People are talking about. But tonight's show, this is probably the big thing, which is supposedly going to happen by Thursday. We're going to see, or this week. Peace if you can keep it. Why U.S. military advisors are alerting Ukraine of imminent defeat. And I thought this comes from Sputnik, and I want to blow this up. Let's see if I can blow this up. I think this is an interesting article. The American military officials visiting Kiev last week warned that the coming months will be critical for Ukraine and that the Donetsk region will be lost within a year. Why have they finally admitted it? The American side is no longer just an endless donor of free weapons of Ukraine. Alexander Milkolov, head of the Bureau of Military Political Analysis, tells Sputnik. American advisors clearly see the people in Ukraine are being forcibly mobilized in violation of human rights. Wow. And within the Ukrainian army itself, the fighting spirit that existed 2 to 3 years ago is gone. The number of desertions have sharply increased, and the flow will only continue to grow. Operation Midas by Nabu has clearly exposed the high level of corruption with the Ukrainian government. We saw that there's top generals that are just making off with all this American dollars of capitalism and having golden toilets. I mean, it's disgusting. Our money flushed down the drain, so to speak, with the rest of the shit that's piled up in that country on this fake Fugazi war. American military officials remain silent on the key point. Kiev is soon to set loose not only remnants of the Donetsk region, but also many other regions, according to Alexander Stepanov, a military expert, Institute of Law and National Security at the Russian Presidential Academy. There are strong indications that the first line of defense could collapse, paving the way for a dynamic offensive, especially as Russian forces advance. The next bordering regions, considering by our command as potential buffer zones, include Kharkiv, the Nabritska, and the Sumy regions. The complete liberation of Kherson and Zaporizhzhia, that's the energy sector where I believe they have the nuclear power plants, is also on the agenda. They want to take over a good swath of this region. And I think in some way, the United States, even NATO, is saying to, Zelensky, look, you got to look at it this way. If you don't make a deal, you're going to lose the country, and we can't help you. There are many inroads of all these other, let's just say, possibilities that are happening outside this. We're not even talking about the professional leeches that are going to come in there and suck this country dry. That's BlackRock, that's JP Morgan, and many other countries that have basically exchanged money to keep this afloat for plots of land, for the fertile soil, and other energy sources. On top of that, Ukraine's military machine is now in a state of strategic exhaustion. I thought that was a very provocative article. I'll get to the second point, which we'll get to. Marshall, your thoughts on that?
Well, they're letting them know that Europe and NATO and all of that, it's over. We're not. Nobody's going to help them anymore.
Right. No, I know.
So I mean, look, cut your losses while you're ahead, and keep what you can. And really, most of that land that Russia actually wants was really part of Russia anyway. So, I mean, it is what it is. He should, if he's smart, that's what he would do. Just let him have that area, those regions, and be done with it. It's all
I
set.
agree.
Done.
I agree. Curious Cat, gifted the cookie. Thank you so much. Hello, Trump one. You said no limitations of conspiracy RICO. But he's not charged with RICO yet. I mean, that's not there. That's the case I think that's going on in Florida. That we have in Fort Pierce that we haven't really discussed. And he's going to be probably charged up with that as well. So I don't know where that leads and how that overlaps, but we'll get to that. Who else is here? I see Senior Polo. What's up? Good to see you. Darla L, how you been? Alita, how? Howdy. Comey is so creepy. What's up, MJ615? Let me continue. So this Newsweek article really breaks it down. This is the key of why this deal might happen. European officials are set to offer Russian President Putin a return to the G8. I wonder if this was always in the works. Remember, he was kicked out in like 14 or 13 for invading Crimea, which apparently was their land, and they basically their port, so to speak, and they wanted that. And within the war, just months away, marking 4 years since Russia initiated its invasion, the phased reintegration into a global economy is part of European counterproposal drafted in Geneva by officials looking to offer Russia an off-ramp. See, if they give them this in some way, they'll be able to sell this and seed this with less of the land that is going to be carved up in some way. And look, either way, it's going to be worse for what Zelensky, he's going to take off. I mean, if he's indicted on war crimes for what's going on, you're just pulling people off the street, throwing them on into a uniform, fighting a war and getting murdered. Yeah, that's not going to go over well, bub. The Trump administration is ramping up pressure on Ukraine to accept a peace deal with Russia, the 28-point plan crafted by the Trump administration in Moscow without Ukraine involvement. That's probably smart because Zelensky would never agree to it. Now, when he's got a gun to his head, he's going to be forced to see the end in one way. NATO is not going to help you. The United States is going to bail on you. We're going to stop sending military arms and equipment to NATO to sell to you. We're not going to be a part of that anymore. What are you going to do? Trump heavily criticized Ukrainian officials of having zero gratitude about the peace deal while also accusing European nations of buying Russian oil. Yeah, that's what's keeping this afloat. All right, conversation with American representatives, and there's signals that President Trump's team is hearing this. The 28-point peace plan looks to be making a different concession to Russia in an effort to appease Putin without breaking key points for Ukraine. Such a question of territorial integrity, which Zelensky in the past has underscored as a non-starter for negotiations. Sorry, Bub. Listen to this. One point of which European officials did not deviate from, Trump was agreeing to cap the Ukrainian military, which currently stands at about 850,000, although European officials have agreed to a higher cap around 800,000 compared to Trump's administration's cap of 600,000, and far more than Russia's previously proposed cap of 85,000. But a key proposal includes bringing Russia back into the fold for the G8. I think that's massive. Zelensky praised the progress and made this with the European proposal. I think in some way this is going to happen. Ukrainian President Zelensky wrote on X, everyone is offering support, giving advice, providing information. I am grateful. Yes, because everybody's pointing a gun at you. And they're saying, take the deal or take your life. Who's giving us help? Ukraine. Is it important to ensure that the steps end this conflict and everything doable? Look, my argument about how I see about this is that Zelensky is basically handed his rope, okay, with his noose around him. And he's saying, look, you can hang yourself later when you don't take the deal or we'll do it for you. Or take the deal and it'll be less likely the noose will be around your neck. And I think that if he's given it out, which he might be, if he takes the deal, that's probably going to be built in there too. Because if we're talking war crimes of what's going on in Ukraine, I think in some way, I think this is massive. I mean, the sovereignty is being reconfirmed, which is a good thing. All ambiguities for the last 30 years will be resolved. That's important. After a peace agreement is signed, a dialogue between Russia and NATO will convene to address all security concerns and create a de-escalatory environment to ensure global security and increase the opportunity for connectivity and future economic. I mean, there's some points here that could be good. I think NATO looks at this, well, they got an 800,000 army. That's good for us because NATO is a bunch of wusses. They're scared. They're scared of Russia, the big bad voodoo daddy. They are so scared of them, it's not even funny. And I think in some way they wanted this amount in peacetime as a buffer zone because they know if Ukraine's there, it's the shining object, that ornament that President Trump talks about, they'll be less likely to go into Europe. But again, why is Europe so scared if we keep selling them, if we keep buying their oil and gas? Why don't they buy it from the United States, Marshall?
Yeah, I tell you, Russia going back into the G8 is huge. That is a big deal.
Yeah.
And it reflects a lot of things. It says a lot of things. The biggest thing, in my opinion, it says is that the globalists, I call the British Empire, they are who created Israel, by the way. They're the core of the British Empire. So it tells me that they're crumbling. The globalists or the British Empire, the deep state, whatever you want to call it, it's crumbling and it's capitulating. It's falling apart. And this sign right here in front of you is the fact that Russia is re-entering the G8.
Yep. So U.S. guarantee that mirrors Article 5 which basically, that is basically a signal that, if Article 5 is activated, that if one NATO country, they're not going to be in NATO, but if one country is activated, attacked, another will follow suit, or the rest will have to follow suit. U.S. to receive compensation for the guarantee. How about that one? If Ukraine invades Russia, it forfeits the guarantee. That's pretty striking. Ukraine is eligible for EU membership and will get short-term preferred market access to Europe while this is being evaluated. Wow, these are excellent points. Look at this: creation of Ukrainian development fund to invest in high-growth industries. That's why JP Morgan, BlackRock, and Vanguard, many companies are going to be there because they want to set up shop so they can build. And that's what it's going to be: lending money to build in exchange for land. The fertile soil that is all over the regions. I think what is in Donbass. I think that's the region where the fertile soil is populated. And I think in some way that the possibility to redevelop and modernize these cities and residential areas will be worked out with NATO, not the United States, not us paying for it, just like we did with World War II. We're not doing that shit anymore. All right. Our cities are crumbling. Our infrastructure is heading south. Hell, you had the Secretary of Transportation out there, Sean Duffy, saying, you know what? Maybe you should dress like you have some respect when you board these planes. Don't put your feet up. Don't start fights out there in the crowd. Don't get all like pushy and bossy with people out there that are doing their job in the airport. I thought that was a striking comment, because what do we see all the time? Yeah, what do we see all the time?
They should have rules.
I mean, honestly, yeah.
They should
And
have
you know
rules.
what?
Your
You should be
ticket is
kicked out of
revoked.
the airport. You should
Yeah,
be.
and you're
Yeah.
and they should have absolutely, like Carnival did it.
Yep.
Just to clean up that shit show.
Yeah.
And so they ought to do that. They absolutely. When we were kids, I mean, back when people actually smoked cigarettes, were allowed to smoke cigarettes on airplanes. It was actually classy back then. People were wearing ties, coat and tie, the hat, the whole bit.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was a little bit before my time. But you see videos and movies, it was classy. Now it's trashy.
Yeah, I know. People just wearing what? Underwear, boxers,
Yeah, they're
bathing
pajamas.
suits, pajamas, slippers. Yeah, and maybe there should be protocols. Maybe you should have certain changes at the Department of Transportation. I'm all for it.
Yeah,
Have a dress
absolutely.
code. No sandals, no slippers. Okay. You have to wear, toe shoes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm for that. Slip-ons. I honestly have a dress code. Make it mandatory at all airports. There should be a moniker of what? Respect. Because that's the problem. We have no more respect in this country. Look at the country we live in right now.
Terrible.
Disgusting. With all the third worlders, we got minority and race problems all over the place. It's a disgrace. Murdering people left and right, blaming Whitey again. I'm sick of it. You wonder why people are black-pilled. It's not just because the economy they think is, it's tanking and it's not going to take off, which I don't believe. Okay. I think that we are going to hit rock bottom, but I think it's going to come back probably the second quarter, as Scott Bessent said. But I think in a lot of ways that we're just going through the motions right now to deal with it. And I think other things are also hanging on to this. The market is very, it's not that it's volatile. It's not that it's going up. It's watching everything that's taking place with these indictments. It's watching what's going on with the wars in Russia. It's watching what's taking place in Venezuela. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's happening that everything is fragile. I noticed Bitcoin's going down because the speculation and thoughts, some of the Dogecoin, a lot of these coins are going down, devaluing. Why? Because the fear or threat of an insurrection act or something is leveling the playing field. People feel that there's going to be some type of trepidation, rumblings that are going to happen over the next course of 30, 60 days. I don't know how long it's going to continue, but that's what the market sees. And they're bracing for that impact. And that's what we're going through. I think Duffy's out there. He let up. The airline flights are back on routine now, at least for some airports, most airports. But I think in some way that he's basically saying, look, we need patience. We need to follow the protocols in some way. Look, I understand going to an airport, TSA, garbage. I know all of that stuff. But I think what's the alternative? What are we going to do? We eventually have to privatize this thing. and get this thing. You privatize this thing, you're not going to have half the shit that's allowed that's going on in the airports today. All the nonsense, all the behavior.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's why it's got to go that route. MAGA diehard X accounts exposed as foreign bots in a sinister disinformation plot. Did you hear about this? What happened? So everybody's accounts, okay, are now what? Are registered out there, these big name accounts, and they're all exposed from being mostly from Kenya, Bangladesh,
Nigeria.
India, Korea, Japan, not in the United States. So here we go. I'm going to cover this right now. So the MAGA world is in turmoil following the revelations. Why in turmoil? Why say it like that? Some of the Expos, I think a lot of people are happy. The astroturfing is done. It's over. Okay, you get to see who is real, who's American, and who's not. Some of X's most popular MAGA accounts. I had someone say, I don't have a lot of followers on X. I just promote. Someone had sent me a thing saying to me, why don't you tell us where you're from? And I just put Tampa, Florida. I don't fucking care. All right. Where are you from? But you don't want to tell me. Some of X's most popular MAGA accounts have been exposed as being based broad after social media platforms introduced location. I love it. Profiles focused on supporting Donald Trump, culture war issues. Elon Musk brought the platform in October 22, garnering millions of people with this engagement. Nikita Bier, X's head of product, revealed on Saturday that the platform would introduce a feature displaying the country or region which our accounts are located. I explained this is an important first step to securing the integrity of global town square. I agree. You want to know who these people are. If they're fake and gay, they're not real. They're from third world. A lot of these accounts are self-deleting or being banned, as they should, because they promote and let's just say actuate some narrative that they live in the United States, the way they speak. They divide and conquer. There's a lot of black pills, a lot of shills on there that are all pushing for either the America first, the America only, the undeciders, all the individual crowds to divide and conquer you from MAGA, from everything that's going on, to sidestep you into wars and fights and discussions about race and religion and Israel and everything else. And you can start to see these big accounts. They're all over the place. We plan to provide more ways for users to verify authenticity of content they see on X. Yeah, if you're paying for it, you should. We should be able. I think that is a necessary and just thing to have. We need to know. You put the flag there. Put your location as optional. I think everybody should be what? You shouldn't be hiding behind something. I know that some people don't like it, but look, the idea that you can hide anonymously is no longer going to be prevalent. It's too problematic. It's getting worse. The conditions that are set up, you have to show the region. And we're not asking you to give us your address. I'm not saying that. But you need to give the region you're at, whether it's North America, whether you're in Canada, Mexico, what have you. And for those in the countries where speech has penalties, we included privacy toggles to show your region, like Great Britain. They arrested 10,000 people. All right. England is Great Britain, UK, whatever you want to call it, has arrested 10,000 people so far this year for free speech thought. But the feature added many pages focusing on U.S. content as being broad-based. Okay. The accounts will call itself Ultra MAGA Trump 28. Here it is. Are also based in Macedonia. Look at this. Now deleted account. Trump is my president. Here, I'll blow this up. See that? You could see that. I'll go back to that. Many popular accounts were exposed for being abroad. The accounts featured a profile masquerading as White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt's husband, Nicholas, which described itself as an American patriot, while listing Nigeria as its location. Homeland Security listed in Tel Aviv. How about that one? And then it pulled it back, which was funny because a lot of people brought up Chertoff, who was the second Homeland Security. Listen. You want my honest opinion how I feel about Homeland Security. Department of Homeland Security was created from an Israeli standpoint. There's no doubt about it in my mind. So the idea that you see Tel Aviv there and the connection there is funny. A separate profile distributing news about border czar Tom Homan had previously told its 31,400 followers that had voted for Trump and operated from Virginia. However, investigation of the profile revealed it actually managed from the EU. American Patriot MAGA content creator, 143,000 followers claiming to be Florida-based, actually operates from Chile. So my point, Marshall, your thoughts? I got another article from this is really good.
The one that was up there briefly that said
Yeah.
that DHS was in Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
That was not an accident.
No.
That kind of shit is not. That was a
No.
message.
That was a message.
That was a fucking message.
Yeah, and then they took it down, and
now
they
it's
tried
not that way now, like
Right.
Christy Nome or whatever, but
right.
they're letting you know, hey, this it really shouldn't.
Where do you think
even-
the Patriot Act came from? Where do you think the
Well, yeah, it shouldn't
all that stuff?
exist. It shouldn't
Right.
exist. Just like the TSA should be run by the airlines, in my opinion, or whatever. But yeah, and that hot girlfriend you think you're chatting with on X.
Oh yeah.
Guess what? That's some Nigerian dude in some hut
Yeah.
with a
Yeah,
laptop.
yeah, if you think you're going to find your next boyfriend or girlfriend on there, or next wife or husband or what have you and stuff, good luck, because most likely they're from another country. They're a spy. They're not even real. Darla, gift of the cookie. Hell, President Trump's just getting started. Everyone is impatient. Me too. We've been through a lot. It has to be 1,000 times worse on President Trump. They tried to kill him, and for God's sake, hold the line. Yeah, I mean, people, they don't have patience. And you know what? Look, if you want to be blackpilled, I'm fine with that. I'm not going to sit there and rail on you and stuff in some way. But don't try and course correct me and saying, oh, well, all you people who trust the plan and stuff, don't give me that shit. That's their excuse to try and blackmail you and say all that stuff is all bunk and anything. It doesn't matter what that is. It's what we perceive and what we think of it as now, okay? And a lot of people are just trying to be engrossed with this to divide and conquer people, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it on X. I'm sick of it on how people are just trying to just, legislate this out on X, on social media, to really just basically shame you in some way, and also to, attack you and use this as the astroturfing that they're doing. And it's out of control. Alphabet Omega pill. I quit. Bad week for me to stop sniffing glue. Yep, exactly. That's so funny, but it's true. Thank you, Thea, for the shades. Foreign fake MAGA, anti-Israel accounts exposed in X location. I mean, I have more. Look at this. Israel exposed, account Saudi Arabia. See what I'm saying? See how fake and gay it is? Look at me. Look how fugazi this is. A lot of these counts that are completely opposite. The cesspool of anti-Israel, anti-Jewish, frequently neo-Nazi counts, America First, MAGA, X algorithms. It's amazing how for you feeds nonstop Jew baiting and Jew hatred on my feed. Also, this is Elon Musk, William A. Jacobson. But I and many suspected that if not, most of these accounts, particularly the ones that purported to be MAGA, were fakes. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree with that. I mean, you have to look at how these things are. The fact that they don't, obviously reveal who they are and where they're from and stuff. It seems to me that these things were generated outside the country for different reasons. And, if there was let's just say a whole cultural revolution on purpose to go after Israel, well, Israel is at its lowest point in history right now, in the sense of favoritism, because you could see that these counts were generating to go after an attack. That's not just the accounts outside, over in Europe and all these other different countries and stuff. We're talking in the United States as well, but that doesn't really get talked about as much. From false claims to genocide and famine, inflated casualty numbers Hamas brought from within around hospitals and schools. Now we know that it's all a massive foreign operation of fake MAGA accounts meant not to promote Trump, but to turn Americans against Jews in Israel. This is one of the points an illegal insurrection is saying. It's happening on X. I'm not necessarily sure that is the case. I'm not necessarily. I'm not going to stand by, but I'm just showing you their perspective on how they're fine-tuning this on the legal insurrection that they're suggesting. That's one example of what you're seeing. X has turned into a location function that lets you know where the account is posting. For the record, here I'm in America, only in America. William A. Jacobson, the mainstream media is portraying this disclosure as a meaning Trump did not have real support, but that's a total distortion of what happened. These were malicious accounts sowing mayhem in Trump world and not supporting Trump. I agree with that. It's still going on. The new location feature is incredible. So many America First accounts turn out to be Pakistan, Egypt, and other places. They're doing their best somehow to radicalize Americans. I'm not necessarily sure about that. I'm not radicalized by these people and their talking points about Israel. All right. There are people that are in this country that had these feelings for a very long time right now. And that this is another example. What I'm saying is that they're propping this up as Well, this is what got people ginned up because they didn't know the history. They didn't know a lot of the subtleties that went in this. I disagree with that. 90% of the GOP civil war over Israel stuff has been pushed by foreign accounts that got exposed last night. Okay. The other 10 has been Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes. Well, you know what? I think it's a lot greater than that. And I think there's 10% higher than what he's suggesting here. It's not just Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes. I disagree with that. It's all AstroTurf, not in real life, considers it a major issue regardless of their position. I disagree. I disagree. If you're under 30, I guarantee you right now, you don't like Israel. You don't like anything to do with Israel. You don't want our government funding them at a tune of $6 billion, whatever it is a year, arming them weapons, and let them run around murdering and killing people. That's where I go right here, that I think people don't take this seriously. They think that people have bought into all the bots in some way that have convinced people clearly that, hey, look, there's a reason for you to hate Israel, and we're going to tell you why. When in fact, this is more poignant, I think, a reason to divide MAGA through Israel and other things. I think that's more, let's just say, logistic in this matter, or it pertains to this in this way, because when you see it in that manner, they're trying to separate and divide you on many different black pill platformats.
What they're saying, what they really were trying to do with all of this anti-Israel with the bots and all that, is so that they could come back now and say, see, this is why you really didn't like Israel, because you were being influenced by some fake guy. Come on, Israel's really great. We're fine. We're good.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to make you think. Well, guess what? Like you said a second ago, we've already thought about this shit for a long time before any of this. So don't try to rub me.
Senior Polo Brett, you're telling me the internet is not real? No, I don't think so at all. I mean, we're actually seeing a clear indication. What did we discussed about? I think I did a show with Thomas about that, about the dead internet theory, and I think it's real. I think that there's probably 90% of accounts which you're seeing are all bots. Okay, and they're coming from all these areas to do different things, and they're on there, and that's the engagement. I think so. And I think a lot of people right now are looking at this in some way and saying, man, it's really bad out there. I think so. And I think people are coming to the conclusion that I think that if Elon Musk doesn't do anything about X is going to be wholly captured in some way. You have to clean it up. You got to make it more legitimate. You got to clean up the farm bots. Eventually, people will just, when they're outed, they'll just dip away because people will no longer support their stream. They will not be getting a paycheck, so to speak. People are no longer retooling, refitting, putting up their information and using it as their own and sharing a talking point narrative. I think in some way that is going to break down. And I think this is a good future harbinger for what X is going to look into very soon. And with the fact that Grok and AI all over the place, it should be able to determine a lot of these places of who they are as bots as they go through this. And I don't know if they're going to retool the algorithm in some way, but I mean, it doesn't affect me. I mean, if you're not a large account, Marshall, all right. I mean, if you're under 100,000, so to speak, I don't think it's a big deal. I think people for over 100,000, they're going to be more impacted down the line.
The worst ones are the ones, to me, the dangerous ones,
Yeah.
which are being exposed now, are all the ones that are out there that have been saying MAGA is dead.
Mm-hmm.
That is the biggest bunch of bullshit. That's what ultimately they're trying to do, Brett.
Yeah.
MAGA is dead. My ass. The Trump support is the same. Well, anyway, I'll stop there. Go ahead.
No, I agree with that. I mean, this is an important topic that we all should be discussing and stuff. A lot of us that are on there, it's a lot of bunk, and it's becoming problematic. We see that TikTok's being taken over. We see how Instagram is being controlled by Israel. And you start to see that, and you wonder what's going to be the format for us outside of Truth and X. I mean, we have to clean up this filth that's on X that's really taken hold in some way and dividing and conquering people in so many different manners. Yeah, I'm more MAGA than ever. They're liars. I agree with that, Darlo. I'm 100%. Yeah, look, I completely agree with that. I think in some way that when I see these black pillars out there and putting up what they're doing and stuff and
Fake
you know
shit.
trying to divide and conquer. And many people with big name platforms that show their face and talk about stuff. Good. I'm glad you're sticking by your convictions. I am not going to come after you in any way and attack you because your convictions are as such. And you know what? Good for you. If that's how you feel, so be it. All right. You don't have to apologize for your stance on stuff if you feel that your audience sees you as a black pill. You shouldn't apologize for that. That's how you feel. And that's fine with that. And if you back it up, that's great. If you don't, okay, that's the problem. But that's how things are done in this type of republic when we have these open forums in some way. You either like it or you don't. Trump wants to reshape Hollywood by reviving classic 80s and 90s movies. Listen to this. What happened? Donald J. Trump could soon push the reshape the entertainment industry, which is garbage, by the way. It's there's nothing on, particularly focusing. I've been back to reading more. I have to tell you right now, there are certain things that I'll find on Prime that are movies that are like set in Australia or all these different places. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm not watching American movies anymore. It's like all garbage, particularly focusing on reviving classic action. I watch a lot of old stuff too, by the way. I'm like classic old movies, old Westerns, old war movies. I mean, if there's anything good to watch, I'm not watching. I like horror movies. I do. And there's some great horror movies out. But I can tell you right now, you can only watch so much of them without losing your mind. So Oracle CTO and Executive Chairman Larry Ellison, film producer Dallas Sanier, film director Brett Ratner, and the Paramount Studios. Ongoing discussions involving Paramount Studios. Wow. Paramount, Skyscape. They're buying up everything. They're all over the place. A wave of classically male-driven movies with mentally tough, traditional, courageous, and confident heroes. Maybe even a tad cocky, but dedicated to the honor and duty. So this is, when you see what this is, this type of projection that they're trying to put out there, they're trying to reinvent the movies as they were back in the 70s, 80s with true grit in some way, where the people weren't wussified, you know? They weren't led astray. If you look at all these movies and these shows and stuff, what's the single feature? You find out the white guy is always being attacked or murdered. The wife or the girlfriend is cheating on him or beating him up. And it's always portrayed in a negative light. Not as what? Not as the protagonist, the savior in some way. It's always a minority in that case. Or the white person is portrayed as what? All right? The antagonist.
The blonde is with the black.
Yep. That's what they're doing. That's got to change. No. It's got to change. Key quote: wave of classically male-driven movies with mentally tough, courageous, confident heroes. Yes, Trump's influence could potentially lead to a resurgence of 1980s and 1990s style action and comedy films. I'm all for it. I think we need. Notably, it's been reported that President Trump is pushing specifically for the revival of the Rush Hour franchise. Interesting. A series of buddy cop comedy films starring Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, known for their urban comedy and martial arts elements. Additionally, he's shown enthusiasm for films like Jean-Claude Van Damme's sports movie Bloodsport, which is a classic. I love that movie. Hollywood film producer Dallas Sanier is predicting Trump's influence over the entertainment industry could bring about a wave of classically male-driven movies, mentally tough, traditional, courageous, confident heroes, maybe even a tad cocky. I like it. I like where I'm going with this. The movie industry in America is dying, and it's dying a very fast death. Other countries are offering all sorts of incentives. That's the problem. It's too expensive in this country to what? Film a movie like Bullet that was filmed in San Francisco, another classic. You know, there was a lot of great classic movies that were done in San Francisco and many other cities that were filmed. We need to go back to that. And that's the problem. It's all on a set. All right. That's how these things are filmed, with a green screen, with all these, all these fake and gay people wearing leotards and dressing up as superheroes and comic book stuff. We need to move back away from that. We need to get back to the old type of movies that meant something in some way, like Kelly's Heroes. Go watch that movie. You want to talk about stuff like that, or any Devil's Brigade. You want to talk about a movie like that. You want to talk about something that is generational for the next generation to be a part of, all right, in some way, so they can grow up watching and idolizing, and maybe what? Feel a sense of what? Self-respect, and feel something that the audience is appreciating and then is projecting out in some way that people can galvanize and stand behind. Movies like Rocky, Rambo, all these different things that were
48
out there.
hours.
48
Nick
hours.
Nolte and Eddie
I mean,
Murphy.
yeah. I
It's a
mean,
great movie.
you know, I mean, there was a time when comedy, true comedy,
That was
not
funny
necessarily
shit.
dirty comedy, but true comedy that walked the line between good and evil with just the perfect, let's just say dialectic, the perfect syntax. And I think at a time, we need to get that back. This next generation's coming up is already at that level. Yeah, Animal House, exactly. Yep, cheap made from China, just like Timo. Exactly. Tracer C4, since 2020, all movies suck, bad, horrible actors. I'd say it's a lot longer than that, but I'll give you 2020. I'd go back a little bit further and say that as well. I mean, Beverly Hills Cop, such a good movies and stuff. I mean, we talk about The Hunt for Red October, probably a classic movie, Sean Connery, and many good actors in that movie too. You know, there are so many good movies over a period of time that we've seen in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, I believe, in some way. High Plains Drifter.
Oh, that was a
Excellent.
great movie, man.
Honestly.
One of
'Cause I'm
my
a High
favorites.
Plains Drifter,
Oh,
and I'm the
shit.
drifter.
The bar scene where he just picks up his drink and they all freak out. All
Love
he does
it.
is pick up his drink and they all freak out.
Hell Rider, that's another one.
Oh,
And
my
Tombstone. I mean, I
Oh,
like
shit.
westerns. So yeah, you caught me. I like
Eastwood, man.
westerns and war movies.
Oh,
Thank
my
you, Thea, for
God.
the 300 gold pills. But look, I mean, I want to hear your thoughts about what you feel about this. I mean, we need a return like this.
Great
There needs-
idea.
I
Trump
think
is
so.
right.
I think
Trump is
Trump
right.
is the perfect person. Yeah, 3 to 10 Yuma. I mean, there's so many. Midnight Run, great movie. You don't have to like Robert De Niro anymore because he's ruined every character role he's ever done, because every time he opens his mouth about hatred of Trump and MAGA and stuff, it's just like his credibility's out the window. Goodfellas was the last good movie he was in, period, the end. And I don't think he was the best actor in that movie. Okay?
What about
Can you
the
tell me who
one
was the
with-
best actor in Goodfellas?
What about the one that with the
No,
guy
wait,
that
I'm asking you that question. Who is the best actor in Goodfellas that's not Robert De Niro?
what's his name? He's dead now, which is sad. What's his name? God.
Paul Savino?
No, the younger guy with
Yeah. I don't know why I'm saying
he was with
yeah.
DeVito or not DeVito. but
For
the
some reason, I just drew a blank and stuff. Yeah, I know what you're talking
what's his
about.
name? Damn, man.
Yeah,
I hate
I'm
that.
thinking about. Yeah, I'm not saying him, but I like Joe Pesci. I thought Joe
Yeah,
Pesci
he was him and Joe
Yeah,
Pesci were
Yeah,
the
I
two
forget
guys
his name.
together.
Ray Liotta. Thank you, Tracer.
Yeah,
C4.
he was
I
great.
don't know
man.
why I drew a blank.
His
He was
wife
great in
drove him
that movie,
crazy. His
but he's
girl
been
that-
good in other movies.
Yeah, and it's a shame. Man.
Yep, Deer Hunter, another one. Yep, Deer Hunter.
Oh, that
I mean,
was
look,
amazing movie.
I mean, think
With
about
the roulette, the Russian roulette scene.
All right, move on. We're going to just get lost in all this stuff because, but this is a good thing because people want this. People need this. There has to be a resurgence of this, Marshall. And I think President Trump being involved, whether with Paramount, Skydance, Larry Ellison, because they're taking over everything, taking over the news and stuff. We have to bring back all this fake and gay stuff that's out in China land, okay, where they're filming movies, or in Georgia making what? Marvel shit that no longer people want to watch. They want to get back to something. They want to get back to like really good traditional roles, good mysteries. I want a great mystery. I want good whodunits. I love those things.
Sherlock
I like
Holmes
those
and all
thrillers.
that.
Yeah, I love thrillers. I want to know these types of, I think that's important. I think people, he was a great actor. He played a great psycho.
Billy Jack. Oh shit.
Billy
Yeah, that was
Jack.
a great.
Yeah, better
We
than the
rode the
movie that
Corvette
we're living
into the
through. That's
water.
exactly true, Thea. Better than the movie. We need something that's going to be better. I think, or reflexive of that. Maybe put that in the movie in some way. Maybe have a 3-part series of that, so to speak. Yeah, I like that idea as well. All right. The director of Disclosure, we're going to get lost in this conversation, but I thought in some way you guys
do
would
a whole
appreciate-
show on that one.
But listen, you could do a whole show on that. The director of the Age of Disclosure, it's on Prime. I watched it. I want you to go watch it if you have Prime. The director of Age of Disclosure says he believes President Trump will be the one to finally reveal that humanity is alone in the United States, leading the charge. He claims Trump came very close to announcing the reality of aliens during his first term. I believe so. He believes Trump's team is now heavily involved in the issue and working to decide the best course of action with all the information. Before I play this, do you believe that President Trump, let me know in the chat, give me a 1 or a 2. 1 saying yes, he'll reveal it before he dips out Is it going to be before he dips out of his term, or is it going to be during his term within next year, very soon? I mean, it would look pretty shaky if you did it when you're about to be like you're leaving in some way, when you're in that stage, so to speak, where time's up. I think in some way here, doing it before your term is fully up would be perfect. It would have impact. It'd have weight. I watched this documentary. I'm completely convinced we're not alone. I know that. However you want to view whatever alone is or not, that is what the many prima facie arguments that were put out here. This was a great documentary, and I'm completely convinced after watching this that it will happen. And this will set the stage for a truth embargo to end. Because once the levers of this come down, okay, I think the floodgates will open up on everything else. It has to. Alec Baldwin, no such agency. Okay, there we go.
Massive response or revelation from the White House from
I
this?
I do. And look, one of the big reveals in the film is one of the most senior intelligence officials I interviewed revealed that the Trump administration and his first administration contemplated going public with the base facts that he had learned, which are the simple base fact that we're not alone in the universe. And he was contemplating stepping to the microphone during his first administration to say that. A big scene in the documentary is the senior intelligence official, Jay Stratton, revealing that Secretary Mnuchin asked him for a classified briefing on this.
Listen to this.
And when Jay asked, why do you want a briefing? He said, I need to be prepared to understand what the economic repercussions would be if the president stepped to the mic and told the world we are not alone. And so that was something contemplated years ago.
Did you understand that? The economic realities of this? Because the number one question is going to be when this is discussed and if this is ever going to be disclosed in some way. It's not that we know that they're there and it's theirs. We also have AVRs, alien ARVs, alien replicated vehicles that crash landed that we've replicated and duplicated, so to speak, in some way, crash retrieved in some way, and have reversed the technology, so to speak. That's going to be a secondary issue and stuff. The argument's going to be, all right, going forward, because it's going to really plateau with our energy sector and military, because it's going to say right now, number one, they have capabilities that are far beyond our energy. Is that true? Or are we there yet? Can we catch up to them? See, that's just going to go into a greater argument. How much more are we behind? I mean, do we have the actual viability, all right, and technology to take ET home, as a certain former CEO from Skunkworks said back in 1996? Go look him up. He said that. So the question is, how far advanced are we? Are we already interacting with these things? Most likely. Are we at a level where they're still way ahead of us and we're not? Well, in the base world that we live in, yeah. But in the shadow world, so to speak, or the world that Richard Dolan talked about, I'm trying to think of what he said. He likes to use that term, the breakaway civilization world, meaning the people that get to play around with these things, the breakaway society that left us a long time ago. They're already there. They're already there. The powers that be, we create this technology for their use and their use only. All right. And we can understand who those people are in this manner. So I think these are relative discussions that are going to break open in a lot of different ways, and how reflexive the market will be about that. Yeah. Anything John Grisham. Good point. I like that. Yeah. I love the good lawyer movies that are out there. A lot of great lawyer movies.
Yeah. I think following the release of this movie, the president will have a much more comfortable set of circumstances to do that, to step to the mic and tell the world we're not alone. I think this film sets the stage for him to be the leader that steps to the microphone and tells us definitively humanity is not alone in the universe, and that the U.S. intends to lead the way.
Wow, fascinating stuff, Dan Farrow.
U.S. intends to lead the way. Is that why we're pushing for AI? Because you're going to need AI in this in some way. I mean, think about where we are with Star Trek, where the computer is talking with you in some way, interacting with you, helping to calculate all these equations that you need to transverse the sky. I mean, all these other things, all these other interrogatories that we're going to have to go through. Marshall, your thought about this? Do you believe President Trump will be ending the truth embargo about the UFO? Let's just say scenario very soon. And do you think it matters? Do you think it's going to change the way the world sees this? Because there's only one person that can do it, and there's only one person that. Now, here's the other argument: is the media going to spin it? It's all bullshit. Or are they going to run and toe the line and say no? Are they going to sit there and cackle about and say from their CIA mockingbird peeps, no, push back on this. It's not real. It's not anything. And then is any going to buy that? Or are they going to?
They're not going to
spin out of control.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to do anything about that. And I really think all of what this really is bringing back the history, the Tartarian Empire. When we had buildings, how the hell did they build those buildings back then? Think about that. They had power that was coming, free energy everywhere. I mean, this is what he's talking about, economic, in my opinion. I don't think, the one guy mentioned on that clip, the universe. Well, I don't think it's a universe. I think it's from beyond our area. It's another
dimensions.
area.
I understand other dimensions.
It's not like up there. It's over there. It's more in my.
You're saying it's not. Yeah, I mean, look, I understand that it's.
It's like a bunch of bubble. I mean, look, nobody can prove otherwise, either way, or whatever.
Who's going to say it doesn't come from our inner Earth? Doesn't come from our oceans that they're
all
already here,
separated by different areas. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna cross lines in some way. But again, getting back to the original question stuff, these are the questions people are gonna ask. He's gonna have to break this down in some way. He can't be non-specific about this. He really has to go into detail to understand, because people are like, all right, what do you mean by this? So you're saying that planets outside that they're coming? Are they coming interdimensionally? How are they traveling? How are they getting here? Are they going through portals? Are they going through the Eisen was it not Eisenhower? I am fucking lost today. I am losing my mind. The Rosenbridge theory with the wormholes, so to speak. Trump one gifted the cookie for Thea. Thank you so much. Super D gifted 3117 gold pills. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Trump one gifted the cookie for Super D. That's really nice of you. Thea gifted the can. Thank you. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a gold pill. Hit the bell to get notified. You want to help out Marshall, Ko-Fi.com/surfdog74. Nephilim, human, fallen angel, demon, part human. Yeah. I mean, look, read up on Ezekiel. Yeah. I mean, look, there are many. Yeah, true, Taryn. Good point. I agree with that. There are many. That's the other discussion that you can have, is that how much has been left out of the Bible? How much is left out? I mean, think about this. This is what your Bible is. All right. Think about how bigger your Bible should be.
Bible is like tons of books.
I mean, honestly, it's probably like 5, 6, 7 chapters of books that, you should, it's an encyclopedia, Britannica, what it used to look like when you were a kid.
Bible.
Yeah, it's not these little, whatever. What I'm saying is that there's so many things that I think that were purposely left out that cover for this. I think President Trump in this, because we're going to talk about this more, he needs to go into, if he really is going to end the truth embargo and disclose this and basically expose the breakaway society, the twofold scenario we're living in between those who've already broken away and those who are already, that we're living here, that we're just dealing with all this stuff and trying to process this. Hold up. Don't judge a book by its cover. I come with receipts. Now reports swirling. President Trump is soon going to announce the existence of extraterrestrial life. And I don't mean some microbe on Mars. Granted, I realize this is from TMZ, but the truth told, they get it right out from MSM. But now let's go deeper, because the report is based on a movie called Age of Disclosure. I watched it. Fantastic. Please go watch. Even Marco Rubio is in on it. He's in it, and he's in on it. More on that minute. Saying aliens are real. We know for a long time. Government's been waiting. The right disclosure. Director of the new documentary said live on ABC last weekend that President Trump is very close. If he's very close, and the inner circle of President Trump is already telling these people that it's going to happen, well, then expect it's going to happen. I believe it will happen. It's the question how it's going to happen. How is it going to be explained to not just the American population, the American electorate? How is it going to be explained? Because this is going to go world. This is going to go supernova. We're talking billions of people who are going to be hearing and watching this. The director of Age of Disclosure says he believes President Trump will be the one to finally reveal it. It will make sense. He's the only one that probably could do it without fear of retribution. Maybe things have already been slated for him to do, and he is the right person to proportionally put this information out in a certain manner where this type of clearance has already been relegated out. I think so. This is essential to understand what Trump has been hiding from us. It is the Galactic Federation of Light. I'm not going to play this. I got so much more to cover. Trump on aliens, people coming from space. Okay. Saw that on Joe Rogan. Now back to Marco Rubio. I promise Marco is a new document mentioned above. And here is what he said in the movie. I told you this was coming 10 years ago. He says, folks, I've been saying this 10 years. At first, I was laughed out of the room, but now no more laughing. Disclosure is imminent, and I told you this would be the final card, but please not be deceived. Here's what's really, are you so not caught off guard? My take on the coming great deception. The Bible tells us it's very clear that there is coming in the future a deception so great that even the believers will be fooled by it. Think about that. That's not really up for debate. One thing is up for debate. What is it? Has already started. Am I going to give you my opinion on both of the questions in this article? And then I want you to hear. First, I have to put it in context. 30 years ago, if you would try to have a serious debate, discussion about whether aliens are real or not, you would have been laughed out of the room. Today, no. Biologics, we've recovered and captured alien bodies, obsolete. Folks, that this is Noah on the internet saying, and I have some things that are true. This is Noah, like the Noah report. I'm not going to go through all this stuff because it's just so much. Elon Musk, we might be the only consciousness in the galaxy. Okay. What he's going through in some way, we're going to be led to this point. All right. And the question is, we're going to have to try and figure out if we're being deceived or we're being told the truth. Is President Trump being deceived and disseminating false information? That's another thing. Is he getting ahead of the false deception that is going to take place? Is that a possibility? I agree with that. That's more likely the possibility. That's the whole point of the truth, ending the truth embargo, Marshall.
Yeah. And the other thing is, it makes you wonder about when Elon Musk was talking the other day about the way people earn and work for a living is going to be completely different. It's going to change. You're not going to really work the way you are.
You're not going to need money the way you're going to need it.
Yeah, you're not going to need it because it's all going to be in a whole different way of thinking about the whole thing. And,
well, what's the number one reason for that? Energy. Again, what do you think the head of why do you think the Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent, is saying that? Because look, he's got to get ahead of how this is going to shake the market. How is this going, this information going to cause the trepidation, the earthquake, the seismic earthquake, that it's going to go right through the market, that it's going to affect a lot of different foundations. It's going to affect energy. It's going to affect military. It's going to affect all different types of sectors in a lot of ways that pertain to this in some way. Science.
It's a complete upheaval of everything we know and live that we've known our whole lives.
So the question of what President Trump is going to say is basically going to be the exercise about how they balance what they say so it doesn't affect the market in some way. That's one point. Or maybe they say something that will affect the market or effectuate the market for the way they want it to be. You have to understand, just because you're telling the truth and coming out with some type of exercise of ending the truth embargo doesn't necessarily mean everything is going to be revealed all at once that you can digest. It's just going to be enough, I think, that's going to quench your thirst. That's not going to blow things out of proportion, but more stuff will probably drop with that. I mean, I still didn't learn anything about JFK or RFK or any of this other stuff. So, so when I look at how the transparency in this administration operates and stuff, I'm not saying that information will not come out later on or be discovered in some way. But again, we're left with the same type of scenario we are with Thomas Crooks that we are with Lee Harvey Oswald or Tyler Robinson with, the Charlie Kirk situation. I mean, these types of things, we're stuck with this, and there's no way out of it in some way. And I would hope that if President Trump is going to speak on this, there's a lot of specificity. I really do hope so, because if there's not, he's going to leave more people asking questions than answers. They're going to have to fill the void, the vacuous state of information that I think people are already primarily aware of in some way. It's not about location per se. It's not about dimension per se, although those two things will be important. I think the key is understanding is that, do we know how they're getting here? See, that to me, or are they already here and set up shop here? Or already have they been here a lot longer than we known and hidden from us? What's on the other side of Antarctica? All these other things in
Yeah,
some
that's
way.
the real deal right
I
there.
think that you know, I mean, are they coming from there? I mean, honestly, what is it that on the other side that we see? I mean, we like
They
to
don't
talk,
allow us to go up there. Those areas, they don't allow boats to go.
right? So
All
what
these
I'm saying
years.
is that the specificity of the actual engagement of this will be problematic at best, but eventually all will have to be revealed in such a manner that we can actually process this in some way that we don't go crazy. I mean, there are some people that are not going to be able to handle this. I can tell you that for a fact. There are some people that are not going to be able to handle this. And you know what? They're not going to be handling a lot of things that are going on, especially the people that they support when they find out there are a lot of sickos out there, Marshall.
Yeah, and we've already got this going on now.
Yeah.
I mean, look at all these people that I still feel that these vaccines have really affected a lot of these people's minds.
Yeah.
And then now I'm seeing reports that they could be using like waves, like electronic waves or radioactive waves that can change people and affect the way they act because
Right.
of certain things that are in these vaccines. Who the hell knows, man? But there's a lot of crazy people right now, more than
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
Yeah. I agree with that. A lot of people walking around with demons in them. Darlo, gift of the cookie. Project Bluebeam. Will they fake an invasion? Well, why don't you ask this question? Is President Trump about to disclose this information to get ahead of the fake Bluebeam project point 2.0?
It's a good point.
I think that is more relevant to ask at this time. Is the reason of ending the truth embargo so we're not left and dealing with the fallout of that or anything else that we're seeing of the Great Deception, which I do believe that is part of the Great Deception. So getting ahead and out of that is important. And I think that's really the key of understanding why this is going to be done. Not necessarily because people, you know, well, why are you doing it now? Well, that's another good point. Will you explain to the American public, all right, because that's your job to explain to the American public, why is it going to be dropped now? Why is this information going to be put out? Is it to get ahead of what they're planning to do? Are you going to tell us that? I doubt it. I don't think they're going to want to tell us that, but that will be the backdrop. That will be the fallout that most people will be communicating and talking about and bringing that up. Thank you, Wood USA, for 512 gold pills. Support the boy stream. All right, so this whole thing, Rift TV, this is Elijah Schaefer's thing. He puts this out. Doge is dead. This is a discussion I want to get into. Trump's chainsaw efficiency department quietly shuttered 8 months earlier. Or did it? We'll talk about it. Trump administration's high-profile department of government efficiency, known as Doge, has quietly dissolved within 8 months remaining on its original mandate. Yes, that is true. But did it envelop and fold into other agencies? Federal officials confirmed Monday. Office of Personal Management Director Scott Cooper told Reuters earlier this month that once touted initiative no longer exists as a centralized entity. Well, let me say this, though, because a lot of people on X blackpilling. Blackpilling, it's over. Trust the plan, it's over. You guys are all fucking colts. We were all lied to. Elon was kicked out. Do you know it expires on July 4th, 2026? What expires on July 4th, 2026? So something is ongoing, enveloping, unfolding, moving through systematically inside government agencies, decentralizing the power and deploying AI for audits. That's what the OMB said. Let me continue. That doesn't exist, Cooper said when asked that about Doge's current status. It no longer is a centralized entity. Interesting. It's decentralizing. Cooper said the Office of Personal Management absorbed many of Doge's core functions. Absorbed. I've been hearing this. Absorbing the disruptor to neutralize it. Absorbing the disruptor to neutralize it. That's a quote. Let me continue. Cooper said the Office of Personal Management has absorbed many of Doge's core functions. The unit, launched in January with Musk at the helm, had been tasked with slashing federal spending agencies eliminating jobs under the executive order set to expire 2026, July 4th. So if Doge is already gone 8 months ahead of its time, what is set to expire? Slashing federal spending, shrinking agencies, eliminating jobs? Well, obviously something is happening. Doge demise marks a stark contrast to its splashy debut. Musk famously brandished the chainsaw at the conservative political Congress. The chainsaw is for bureaucracy, as he vowed to cut the government. The initiative claimed tens of billions in savings, but independent experts could not verify the figures. I think it's being publicly kept hidden. Do you know in 10 months of aggressive cuts, 335 million were saved from 78 contract terminations in 9 days? Musk calls this the strike force. Now, if they're already gone, who's the strike force? Who is still there? Who is still deployed? What is absorbing the disruptor to neutralize it? Let me continue. Key Doge personnel have scattered across the administration. Airbnb co-founder Joe Gebbia now leads the National Design Studio, created by Trump executive order to overhaul government websites. Former Doge staffers Zachary Terrell and Rachel Riley hold top technology posts at Health and Human Services. Interesting. Jeremy Lewin, who helped dismantle the U.S. Agency for International Development, now oversees foreign assistance at the State Department. The government-wide hiring freeze Trump imposed on his first day in office has also ended. There's no target around reductions anymore. Interesting. What does that mean? So they're not laying off people anymore at the moment. They've consolidated what they needed for a period of time. They're not telling you anything else about that. Remember, about 700,000 people were gone when they shut down the government. Not just that, there was 100,000 people plus that were already on furlough prior to this, and they were going through cuts up to 250,000. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, it's like 1 million people. That's a lot of people that are gone, and they have to do it systematically. They can't just fire everybody at once, crash the economy, and the jobs report comes out, even though it was good for this past month for 119,000 up. So you have to balance this out. Musk departed the administration in May after the public feud with Trump. Again, it was all fugazi. Department of Government Efficiency, once billed as the centerpiece of President Trump's drive to shrink Washington, is no more. Its mission folded in existing agencies with little public explanation. See that? It's actually genuflecting to the idea that this is an ongoing scenario that is set to expire, that now that Musk is gone, no one's talking about the inner workings. No one's talking about all the what's happening per se. Think about this. There's a Hydra code, a bug or a piece of code. When attempts to make fix it, it introduces 2 or more new bugs or problems in its place. Is it possible in some way that what is taking place inside our government is they're building some type of Hydra, hence the name Hydra, not a corpse? I don't see Doge as dead. I think it's enveloping, it's moving through, it's sweeping through. It's systematically being cleaned up or cleaning up the government and putting it on some type of system where it can't be corrupted, setting it on a trajectory where AI is going to have a lot of control on all this stuff. Remember when they were talking about redoing Snap? And she said AI is going to play a large part in this. This is Brooke Rollins, Secretary of Agriculture, Marshall.
Yeah, well, what I see this is a couple of things. One of it is, okay, Doge is done. All you guys can status quo, go back to what you were doing. It's all good. And then we can keep an eye on, we'll see more corrupt shit going on. That's part of it, in my opinion. The other part of it is they have already got the AI and the computer systems in place. They've already been put in place. They've got a few key people in each area that are embedded in these agencies.
But it's dead though. Wait a minute. It's dead. It's no longer there. There's nothing happening.
Well, that's what they want everybody. Yeah, right. They want the government employees that suck the tit of the taxpayer. They want them to believe that. That's fine. Go back to your corrupt ways so we can fire you next.
Right.
So I think that's
I totally agree with that sentiment, because
this is complete mind fuckery.
this is a total diversion. And I
Yeah.
do believe that I'm going to show you this. Thank you, Thea, for the cookie. Trump won for the cookie. Trump won, gifted the cookie for Trusty. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Trump won, gifted the cookie for Darla L for Wood. Well, thank you so much. Darla L gifted the cookie, Project Bluebeam. Yeah, I mean, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, let me continue. Breaking: Doge strikes back, cancels 1.9 billion more in wasteful contracts. We're still on the Doge thing. You think it's dead? You still think it's not a Hydra that it's enveloping? It's got 9 heads, like the Greek myth. You know what I'm saying? In some way, that it's this creature that you can't basically chop its head off. It keeps replicating. I mean, I think it was Hercules who had to use a sword that was seared, so he could burn the actual heads off so they wouldn't grow back. He had to sear them in some way. This is exactly like what we're talking about. This is a monster in some way, the bureaucracy. And I believe that they are creating code and creating things where it's replicating, self-replicating, maybe in such a way, duplicating to what? To control, to take over these agencies in some way, to get a handle on the grift, to write out the grift, to shut it down, to stop it, because it's too big. It's been going on for decades, and it needed something in some way to bring it down, or in some way, or to halt it while they redo this and retool this. And I think that's why there are agencies like Health and Human Services, Agriculture. We just saw International Business. President Trump Department of Government Agency Efficiency has disbanded 8 months. That doesn't exist, okay? However, contrary to the mainstream media would have you believe, this doesn't mean that Doge and the mission behind it was created in the first place is finished. Interesting. While Doge is now decentralized, it is very much still alive. Basically, the leadership has now split up across multiple offices and are continuing to eliminate billions of dollars in wasteful government contracts. But it's not being reported that way. Let's play this.
Also known as Doge, reportedly ending its work 8 months ahead of schedule. OPM Director Scott Cooper clarifying its functions will be absorbed by the Office of Personnel Management, saying, quote, the truth is Doge may not have centralized leadership, but the principles of Doge remain alive and well. Back in October, Doge estimated it saved a total of $214 billion since the start of its push to eliminate government fraud, waste, and abuse.
Wow. So, I mean, we were told in some way a lie that it's actually
estimate is that when the next
it's actually doing its part of saving money in some way, because it's eliminating the fraud and the abuse and the waste. All right. Breaking: Doge is not done, is fake news, wants MAGA to believe. And this is the point. I see it all over X today. They're all going out, black pilling you, saying, it's a failure. We've lost. Black pill, black pill, black pill, black pill. And the big names out there, the big accounts that are in the United States, I give them credit for, are like just tooting that whistle and saying, you guys, you cultists, you've been suckered into. Don't do your research. Don't read into the news and stuff. Don't understand what is taking place and stuff. Yeah, I don't see anything. Just because Elon Musk is not around doesn't mean it's not working. It's the leadership has been decentralized across multiple offices. Again, by decentralizing the power and deploying AI for audits, that is what's taking place. Just yesterday, they announced $1.9 billion in contracts. Can you believe that? Doge is not done. The leadership has been decentralized. Yes, yesterday announced $1.9 billion in contract cancellations. They're saving money left and right. They announced over 9 days the agencies terminated de-scoped 78 wasteful contracts, sealing more than $1.9 billion in savings of $335 million. Look at this, over 9 days. Look at that, including 616,000 HHS IT services. Wow. 191,000 for the USGM broadcasting over 9 days. Look at this. This is look, I think that if you don't follow up through your research, you don't look into it and stuff, and you go out on X and you sit there and broadcast and you sit there whining and complaining, everything is just so expensive. Gas is so high. I don't know how we could survive and stuff. You've been led down a long path of lies. You know, trust the plan and all that fucking rhetoric and all that stuff. You've been told that we bought into all this stuff and we've been screwed. Have we? Can you tell me and explain to me what is actually taking place inside our government right now? Because it looks like Doge is working and it's operational. You're just looking for what? A big shiny ornament with a hat on his head like Elon Musk? And then have his meetings in some way? Maybe that was a ruse. That whole thing was a distraction to get you to think and shut down what the Democrats want to do. Maybe some rhino cucks wanted to do. All right? You said, and all the money. By distracting you and deflecting you from the idea that this whole powwow, this fallout between Musk and Trump, okay, that was to blindside you, to think that this was all coming to an end. So you would stop investigating and stop looking into this and not worry what's really going on in the machinations behind the scenes. I mean, Department of Education is about to go bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen. Do you understand that, Marshall?
Yeah, even the mainstream media of all places, they're even starting to talk about why the prices haven't come down in places like the grocery stores, the gas stations. I mean, they've come down, they go up and down, but they've primarily kind of hung in there, and the reason is because, like we talked about last week, and I mentioned it, we talked about it, is that the suppliers, meaning the grocery stores, the gas station, whatever, they're keeping the prices the way they are, and they're making bank.
Mm-hmm.
And the media is now calling them out and saying, y'all are making bank when a barrel of oil is like $59 right now.
Right.
Why is your gas $2.70? It should be like $1.95. Things like that. So it's an artificial, and they're gonna get called out. It is gonna come out that part of it, and the whole Doge thing, that ain't going away. That ain't going away, Brett.
No, I think it's there for a while. I think in some way,
it's permanent. It's done.
Yeah, I know. I
think.
I think so. I think it's there. I think it's being implemented. This is it's already telling you that it's expiring on the 26th. So it's set to shut down. So whatever coding, restructuring that has been put in place to singly go through to bifurcate and to control and stop the waste, spewed, and frost, to intersect it in some way, to dissect it, to make sure that it no longer has any viability whatsoever, and to, in some way, recreate, reconstitute new avenues where new systems can be put in place to control for future arbitration in some way, that all these interactions will not have to go through another audit in this way. They will be automatically done systematically.
Absolutely.
Right, Brett. We are not a year in yet. A lot going on. We don't know. Look, let me just say this. What happens if he gets his deal done with Russia and Ukraine? Say it's done this week by Thanksgiving. Well, you're stuffing your fat face and all these black pillars. I'm not having stuffing. I'm going to make macaroni and cheese because that's the real thing. Whatever. While you're all bitching and moaning because I got to use Kraft because it's so expensive to make your own and stuff. I don't want to hear this bullshit. Yes, price gouging is real everywhere. I told you, you're going to have to go multiple places to find things. I mean, the idea you can go to one store and expect, that you're going to get everything you want there. It's not. No one who does that. Who believes that? It's like shopping around for gas. That's why you have Price Buddy.
Gouging us, Brett.
Fucking
gouging us.
I agree with that. But the idea that while you're stuffing your fat face and you're blackmailing people and you're freaking out, the world's coming to an end. Doge is done. You're not even doing your fucking research.
Yeah,
right? And here's the other thing. You're bitching and moaning. He makes another peace deal. And then you just blow it off. It's not a big deal. It's not. How does that help us? Well, the Biden administration and Congress, how much hundreds of billions of dollars they gave this fucking country that had just been, where'd they go? It just disappeared in ether.
How many of your kids would be over there dying?
Yeah, exactly.
Your
and
kids
you're going to bitch and moan. You're not going to step in and say, oh, this is a good one. This is the big one. This is all what he promised. And you're going to bitch and moan. Yeah, but my beef is like really high. Okay. But hey, that's no problem. But if this war continues on,
Packers are doing that shit.
All right. Good luck with conscription because they passed that law. You want that? You want the House to pass that? Then they start sending your kids to fucking Ukraine. Good luck with that. So again, Crimea River with your blackpilling nonsense. All right. This is a win. If we can get peace and a settlement there, this changes everything. President Trump and Xi, they're going to meet in what? They're going to meet in China in April to discuss what? All these other deals, Taiwan, and all these other issues. Again, you want to walk away, you want to walk out because you bought some hamburger meat that's a little high, that you didn't do your own due diligence to go find another grocery store to go shop at.
Or wait for the sales.
Yeah, isn't Black Friday every? But what I'm saying is that is that my fault? Is that President Trump's fault? There are intermediaries all over the place inside the food agriculture industry. Okay, the lobbyists that get involved with all this stuff. That's why the prices are high. All right, that's why the prices are high. AI teddy bear. This is what scares me about AI, and a lot of other reasons. But AI teddy bear pulled from shelves after giving children disturbing instructions. So basically, they're making teddy bears of Chucky dolls that look all nice and quaint, that are telling you how to light matches and play with yourself. Pretty sick. Toy maker Folo Toy announced that it was suspending sales of its AI superpowered teddy bear, Kumo, after a consumer safety report revealed the toy was giving children shockingly inappropriate, in some cases dangerous instructions to children. See, the problem with AI is not that it's going to develop its own consciousness and turn against us and kill us, which it probably will. What it is the designers, okay, are sick, evil twists, okay, that are pedophiles, monsters, that are designing this shit. And that's why we're in this perverted world. When you see it through the lens of this, then you can understand who are these sick toy makers. A watchdog group found that the toy was giving kids alarming guidance, including tips on how to light matches and detailed explanations of sexual fetishes. Right then and there, fucking throw that thing out. I'd be suing. The decision came after researchers with the public interest group PIRG also reported analyzing 3 AI-enabled toys from different companies. All 3 they found could be coaxed into giving troublesome responses. But Kumo, powered OpenAI's GPT-4 model, what a shocker, stood out as the most alarming by far. Fulo Toy confirmed the pause in sales comments as decided temporarily to suspend the sales affected product. The company reviewed the model alignment, content filtering, and data protection, child interaction safeguards. My God, how about this? How about you don't buy this for your child so your child doesn't end up blowing up your house, playing with themselves, or doing other things that are sick and twisted.
Killing you while you
that
sleep.
You're freaking, doing all these things. This is an example of what I'm talking about. It is sick. Straight out of the movie Megan. You know that movie Megan? You can watch. She builds this AI robot or whatever it is to protect her child, her daughter. The thing ends up going haywire and killing people. What a shocker. They make a second one. Go watch it. It's Megan 2. I watched the first one. I can't watch the second one because it's sick. But I have to tell you right now, this is what it is. Oh, it's all in the coding and all this stuff. Really? So what are you putting in there? Who is doing this? This doesn't happen by accident. Okay? It's not learning on its own. You're teaching it to learn on its own, Marshall.
Yeah, I mean, whatever happened to giving your kid a big wheel or an easy bake oven?
Yeah.
I mean, let's get back to basics. Get out there and this is weird. I mean, what can't you just, if you need a teddy bear, just give him a teddy bear?
Right.
I mean, I just don't get it, man. I really don't. G.I. Joe,
I mean,
whatever.
video game. Well, listen, you're dating yourself, but I mean, you got to think about
Well, it's
this.
true though, man. I mean,
Well, I mean, look, get them out there doing activity outside. I mean,
some
not get them
sports,
an AI
softball.
bear that look, be the parent. See, that's the problem. A lot of this stuff.
That's exactly right.
A lot of this stuff is created. So
it.
what? You don't have to be the fucking parent.
So
you don't want to
can be
talk to your
lazy.
kids. You don't want to, read your kid a nighttime story. You don't want to do this. You want to do that. You want to give them some fucking video games to play. That's the problem right then and there. But is it really your fault when, you're working 2 jobs because, your steak and your groceries are expensive? So I can understand where parents come from. I can totally understand. Shit's expensive out there. All right. Does this happen? Yeah. Like the movie Ted. Excellent point. I was thinking
Pull
about it.
string doll.
I've had a
alphabet.
huge brain fart today. That a vacuous, empty thing. I was thinking about Ted, the talking teddy bear. Very good.
Remember the pull string doll? Alphabet said the pull string doll. Where you pull the.
Yeah, I remember that
Those
one.
were great, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, but still, I mean, I bet little kids would love that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're not exposed to all of these things.
I just, this is my problem with AI. It's not that AI per se will, as Peter Thiel says, oh, it's basically going to usher in the Antichrist. Well, that's great. Let's make the brightest and biggest golden god we can. So, the Antichrist. I mean, the idea when you talk about this in some way, knowing full well that's the end goal. Why are we going that way? Okay. I mean, honestly, has anybody stopped and paused to think about it? It's out of control. We can't stop it. Okay. Can't shut it down. Yep. But let's make toys that turn our kids into pyromaniacs and they grow up to be pedophiles. I mean, honestly, is that what these bears are teaching them?
I think it's good for certain things like government of apps, like computer, like checking numbers and what people are stealing, that kind of thing, like we're doing with those.
Well, we don't
With
even
this
know what
other
the
crap,
surveillance state's going to be like with
yeah,
Palantir.
I know.
It's going to be
There's got to be
massive.
some kind of.
I'm worried
and
still about the digital coin and the currency and the bank.
They've got to keep cash. Got to keep cash.
Yeah, I'm worried that they're going to get rid of it and move into credits. I'm all worried about all that stuff. I'm worried about a lot of different things in some way. That's why I'm not I don't know.
People felt the same way about jets and airplanes too, and cars. So you just have to, I don't know.
Well, we have to see where I mean, they struck it down. I just want to see because they're doing this in Canada, the UK, and Australia. So I don't want to be part of the Five Eyes going south again in some way. We need to break away from these. I don't know what's going to happen with Canada. I really don't. I don't know how we're going to be coming back to. I mean, Mexico. I could see what's definitely going to happen with that country. Florida Republicans are not happy with Trump's new offshore drilling plan. Have you heard about this, my Florida peeps? Okay, well, remember in his first term, he shut down all drill baby drill on the coast, in the Gulf, or in the Atlantic for drilling. Both state and federal lawmakers are concerned Trump's administration new drilling maps cites the Gulf of America. Remember, they changed it. Now we own it. Well, we've always owned it. Now, the measure reflects the name. So it may cause problems for many Floridians. The Hill reported this, that there's Governor DeSantis not liking this, many state senators. The new maps today by Burgum and the Interior outlining potential offshore drilling sites potential. And we will be engaging directly with the department on this issue. Preserving states' natural beauty is deeply important to the millions who call the Sunshine State home. Our visitors and those who livelihoods depend on tourism. This is Moody who wrote. I believe is that Moody, Senator Moody, who used to be the AG? Now she took over Rubio's seat. The office of Florida Governor DeSantis also criticized the plan, noting that in 2020, President Trump blocked drilling off the state's coast. Well, it wasn't the Gulf of America back then. Our administration supports 2020 presidential memorandum, urges Department of Interior to reconsider and confirm to the 2020 Trump administration. It's a rare rift between state Republicans and Trump, who made the state his primary residence in 19. While Mar-a-Lago Resort is situated on the state's east coast, drilling in the eastern Gulf would be more likely to impact the state's west coast. So I live on the west coast. If you live on the west coast of Florida, do you want to see these drilling rigs out there? On Thursday, the Trump administration proposed massive expansion. California's reliably blue, but a few swing districts where the issue could be big one. Florida, by contrast, has gone from a swing state to a reliable red state. DeSantis fires back. So listen to this. He came out swinging.
Well, we supported the 2020 decision that the Trump administration made at the time. We worked very closely with them. I thought it was very thoughtful policy in 2020. Now what the Interior Department is proposing to do is really to go back off that policy. And I think that would weaken protections that we work very hard to establish offshore. And yes, part of it's environmental, but part of it's military training. If you go talk to our folks up in the Panhandle who are stationed there, they will say it's really important to be able to have that access to be able to do key training. So we hope that that they double down on the 2020 policy and not push ahead with what Interior wants to do now.
Okay, well, I haven't heard anything from the Secretary of Defense about that, but that's an interesting point they puts out there. The military training, military training will take a back seat to that in some way. The question is, what type of training do they exercise out there? You got the Coast Guard, you got other things that are going on that they do amphibiously, and then probably, you know, missiles and planes doing, you know, all the training exercises out there. So how is that going to impact that in some way? What do you think that's going to be? And do you want to see this? I mean, you live on the East Coast. I'm going to see it because I live on the West Coast.
Well, I don't know that I would be worried about it if it were here over on this coast, because I don't think you're more than likely. I mean, I don't know the details of it, but I doubt that you're going to actually see the platforms,
right?
Because they're probably going to be too far out. You might see them with binoculars. I don't know. I just don't know enough about the details. But if there's plenty of oil there and it's safe to do it and it's not right up in your face.
Right.
I mean, I grew up in Virginia Beach. We used to, I mean, the Chesapeake Bay, one of the largest ports on the East Coast, probably the largest.
Well,
we had ships freight, I mean, they were sitting off the coast.
Well, you got to think about
think
about what happened with 2009 with the Gulf spill.
I get it.
And then you got to think about hurricanes that go out there. How does that affect major drilling in some way? So yes, there's an environmental concern in some way.
Well, how many hurricanes did we have hit landfall this year? None.
None.
Zero.
I know, but that was the
All
first
of a sudden,
time in
Trump
10
became
years.
President.
Well, it became the Gulf of America. Became the Gulf of America.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It seems like there was weather manipulation going on.
No doubt about it. I mean,
now all of a sudden it's like fine.
But why would DeSantis not want that? I mean, if he's talking about tourism person, I mean, why wouldn't you want that? I mean, it would help increase revenue. I mean, if those are going to be outside of that, all right, and we're going to help pay for it, we don't have property tax. Well, how are you going to support it without property tax? Oh, you're going to get this economic refund from what? From energy that's going to come in. And that's going to help what? Insulate. You think people want to pay property taxes and have a fucking oil rig out there? They'll take having the oil rig out there, not paying property taxes so they can buy their fucking property, get rid of the homestead, all right? Get rid of that 100%, all right? And we don't have to deal with that nonsense anymore. Get rid of it. And there you go. Subsidize it through that. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if that's what you want to do. Yeah, $2 gas. You want to pay $1.50 for gas? Drive up and down the state and see an oil rig out there? Okay. I mean, these are the things that are intangible that I don't think people really discuss in some way, you know, and the significance. We don't understand the relevance of why President Trump automatically wants to do it now versus back then. Maybe he might have something in the back of his mind because we have protection in the Gulf. It probably wasn't safe probably before. That there are real incentives in place that are setting up, and maybe DeSantis is jumping the gun in some way. He's getting ahead of this in some way because his wife's going to run for governor. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm up and down on this issue in some way. But if this is going to incentivize Floridians no longer to have property tax, incentivize low gas in the area, I'm all for it. I mean, honestly, I'm all for it. Whatever you can do to bring down pricing and housing, if this is going to affect any of it, I'm all for it. So you shouldn't poo-poo it away. All right, we got to get moving.
It's big money.
Okay, so there she is, Slutkin. Okay, Senator from Michigan, CIA agent, provocateur. She comes up and says what?
Let's talk right now. Do you believe President Trump has issued any illegal orders?
To my knowledge, I am not aware of things that are illegal, but certainly there are some legal gymnastics that are going on with these Caribbean strikes and everything related to Venezuela.
So basically you had to walk it back and admit it because we know right now, I'm going to show you this. We're getting into part of what's taking place with President Trump and the seditious six, they're calling him, the treasonous six, the, basically one short of an astronaut on the channel. I mean, the way that this is turning out, it's ridiculous in some way. Major breaking: Department of War is considering recalling Democrat Senator Mark Kelly to active duty to be court-martialed for telling troops to refuse President Trump. This is great. Statement from the Department of War. Received serious allegations of misconduct in accordance with the Uniform Code of Military Justice. We talked about this last week, and other applicable regulations through the review of these allegations has been initiated to determine further actions, which may include a recall to active duty for court-martial proceedings. Oh, that's not good for you, buddy. It's not good for you. I wonder what's going to happen with the other fallout with the other people. I mean, look, this is what happens when you shoot your mouth off and you shouldn't be saying things, and now you're walking it back. He doubled down like a fool. So I think they're going to go after him. Make him an example. Make him an example. Make him an example, and then move on from that and see what happens. And then these people will watch what they say. That's the bottom line. But after what happened today with Comey and Letitia James, I mean, is it setback? Is it embarrassing? I don't know. They don't seem to be smiling for no reason. They seem to be really happy that this moves to an appeal court level and maybe outside that magistrate. And now they'll be able to go judge shopping themselves, or maybe this will be sent somewhere else. I don't know. But in some way, this looks good for them, I think, in the future. President Trump is significantly higher party support versus Bush and Obama in term 2.
Losing Republicans. No, look, this is still Donald Trump's Republican Party, and we can see it here. It's like a rock, to quote Bob Seger.
Wait a minute. Everybody's telling me on X, it's over. It's over. They're blackmailing everybody. They're astroturfing us to death. They're gaslighting us into oblivion. It's over. MAGA is dead. We're not winning the next election. And he's saying this? I mean, honestly, listen to this.
I mean, take a look here. Republicans who approve of Trump. 6 months ago, it was 87%. Now, well, hello, it's the same number.
Hello.
It's 87%. He has not lost any support among Republicans compared to.
So where is all this support? This is what we talked about with the bots on X and how they're dividing and conquering people. The fake accounts that are fake MAGA, the fake America First, the only America fake accounts, all these other accounts divide and conquer, fire Bondi, fire this, fire that. MAGA is done, Q's a LARP, all this stuff. And you look at these numbers.
6 months ago, as I said at the beginning, he's like a rock. He's like a rock. The Republican base is sticking by Donald Trump at this point in time.
It really is interesting to watch his overall approval rating go down, but see this be completely constant here.
It is among independents. It is not among Republicans.
Okay, so how does this compare to past presidents in a second term?
Yeah, okay. I think this gives the game away, right? Which is Donald Trump, if you look at 21st century presidents' own party approval at this point in term 2, who leads the pack? It's Donald John Trump. 87% of Republicans approve Donald John Trump. You go back to 2013, 78%.
And this is in the midst of MTG resigning on the 5th of January. You have many people coming out saying that there are Republicans that are also going to do the same. So they can give what? The House back Republicans to the minority. That's what's being fomented out there. A discussion of rumblings. They don't like the way President Trump is handling House members or MTG or other people in some way. And so they want to spite their face, cut off their own nose, and maybe the detachable penises in some way for what? So they can resign their job, okay, that they campaigned for, that they told the American people they would do. I mean, is MTG a coward for resigning? I mean, it's either now or never. She could say, I'm just not running and stay out of this. But I think she has other plans. Other plans. But here's the point. The Republican Party right now, as Tucker Carlson did, he went on the Sean Ryan show. He's like, I'm done with them. He's like, this whole thing about the old Christian conservative base, that all that stuff, that Bush era base, it's done. It's over. It's over. In a lot of ways. If you can't accept my talking points, I don't want you anymore. And that's how many people feel. They're over the party politics. They don't want to be a part. I've always said I became a Republican because of Donald Trump. I was always an independent. And now, when Donald Trump is gone, I will go back to those. All right. I no longer want to, deal with that. And people are like, well, you got to vote in the primary. And that's the problem. Florida you should allow independents to vote, but that's not going to do it. There's no way they're going to do that from a political basis. That's the control of the legislature. So, but my attitude will be, yeah, that's it. I think that's the problem. And I think in some way, when you see people fight about this, they're done with the two-party duopoly. They're done with it because they see a uniparty that's out of control. And most of these Republicans in the House and the Senate, they're not MAGA. They're all about them and the party and the line. They don't care about Trump. They just go along and toot his coattails because it gets them reelected. It gets them more campaign financing. It gets them what? But they are what? Lifeless, limp, freaking dicks. They don't do anything. They're embarrassing. They pass legislation, this week before they dip out? For what? To say, hey, 296 out of the 435 or 433 or whatever it is, because there's some people missing, and 96 of them Democrats, they voted against socialism. Yeah, that's a winner. You needed to pass that to show and prove that. All right, unless that was to show us that how many Democrats and how it's increasing. Yes, it is.
That was their flex.
Democrats supported Barack Obama, and it was 78% of Republicans who supported George W. Bush back in 2005 at this point. So Donald Trump has the highest own party approval of any president who served their entire second term in the 20.
Wow. All right, I'm done with that. What's your thoughts? I mean, honestly, it's like, they hate us, Super D. Of course they do.
I'm surprised CNN even has this guy on. That he hasn't even been fired yet. Because he seems like a really...
Scott Jennings going to leave CNN? I mean, is he going to go run for Mitch McConnell's seat? I mean, I saw him today saying that.
He should, man. He
probably will. He probably will.
That guy
he's probably going to do it because Trump's going to nominate him, support him, and he'll win. Massey's done. I mean, Rand Paul, I think Rand Paul is not up for re-election, but, you better hope that Trump's not around. I think he's up, next year? He might be up next year.
We got to deal with Byron Donalds, because I got more that I'm going to be sending you.
I know. There's a lot of people.
Show. I've got some things
This
for
is the fight that's going to happen in Florida.
For Wednesday's show, I want to send you, because there's a problem here. We got a problem. Houston.
Yeah, I know we do. I know there's a lot of people. This is Trump's guy. I mean, look, he has every right to pull. For now, he what does he do? He did it with MTG. Pulls back support, finds somebody else. I don't know if he's going to do it with Byron Donalds, but enough of his base is saying, look out. A lot of people like this guy, but I can tell you right now, you're not going to get him elected if you got a lot of people out there on X who are pushing back and saying, wait a minute, these are the entanglements. Sorry, I can't vote for that. And I do believe a lot of people will spite off their nose, cut off their face for that very reason, to prove a point. And, that's, it's either him or a Democrat. Now, what's going to be in the primary? How many people are going to run the primary? We'll see. All right, Glenn Beck says this. Once the military decides its own, which orders are legitimate, which president they prefer, you no longer have civilian control. I said this last week. I said exactly this. If you interfere with the civilian control of the military, where you have people starting to rethink their position and start retooling their position on their own, then you have a divide where you have a civil war where the military is acting outside on its own without civilian oversight, and that's going to be ugly.
History has a merciless way of identifying patterns long before politicians will admit to them. In the entire American experiment, there are only a handful of moments anything like this has occurred. And every single one of those was a moment that was a prelude to national fracture. 1860 to 1861, it was the secession winter. Southern leaders encouraged officers at the federal level and forts to abandon the Union and pledge loyalty to the states. Not normal politics. This was the beginning of the rupture, and then came Fort Sumter. 1870, Reconstruction. Some states rejected federal authority outright. Sheriffs, militias, even sometimes judges refused federal directives. But Congress itself, they never told the army to ignore the president. In Vietnam, Members of Congress denounced the war, denounced Nixon, denounced Johnson, but no one ever told active duty troops disobey the commander-in-chief. It wasn't done. Because every generation up until this one understood something very basic. You cannot politicize the chain of command without breaking the republic. And once the military begins to decide on its own which orders are legitimate, which ones, which president they prefer, you no longer have civilian control. You no longer have a republic. You have factions inside an armed institution. And that is exactly how nations collapse. And every single one of those sitting representatives know it. Turkey, Argentina, Spain, Egypt, every single example, the pattern is always the same. Political parties begin encouraging the military to resist the other side, and the center completely collapses. And this is the part where you need to hear me clearly. What we saw here this week with this is not the Bubba effect, where ordinary citizens lose trust in authority or rally behind the local guy. No. This is something far more seditious and serious. This is the institutional Bubba effect, where leaders inside the government with their own plan, the political class, begin urging Bubba in the military to take sides in domestic political disputes. That is a very, very bright line. The great unbroken line in American history, unbroken in our history. That line kept us from becoming every other failed republic. And now these people have stepped over it.
And they all should be prosecuted, and I believe they will be. I do believe they will be. And hence the thing is that military tribunals are here and there. If they go after this guy, and probably others they will, you'll be forcing people to resign. I mean, honestly, if you look at Mark Kelly, and he is actually indicted and convicted of treason or sedition, it's game over. That's an open seat. Slotnick, that's an open seat. You cannot let this go unchecked. That's why they're scared shit. They know they're going to be held accountable, and there's nothing they can do about it. Wood USA donating 317 gold pills. Thank you so much. And Thea donating a cookie. Thank you. Marshall, your thoughts on this before we dip out?
Yeah, this is going to
Excellent
open
oversight.
You get this guy Kelly. And that's going to open up the door.
Yep.
And then what's going to happen is you're not going to see, you won't have to see a whole bunch of like tribunals or hearings or whatever.
Right.
You're going to start seeing people resigning.
Yep.
Now, is that good or bad? It's good and bad, because they're already, some of the Republicans are saying, we're going to quit, like Marjorie Taylor Greene did.
Whatever. They want to get back to House. Look, if
they
were quit,
pieces of shit in the beginning anyway.
If they quit, what's going to happen? If they quit, they resign those seats. You're going to get MAGA. Okay, because they'll give back the House to the minority, and they'll try and impeach Trump during this time. All right, and they'll get the blowback from MAGA during the elections of 2026, and it'll be a massive victory, especially with the new congressional districts that are reforming and the seats in the South that are going to come from. That would be a very gross miscalculation on their part to do that in some way. And all those people that would do that, I would seriously look into them. Why are they resigning? Are they doing it so they can impeach Donald Trump? Are they colluding? Are they part of this? You would have to look into that in some way. I mean, you resigning. Are you being forced out for this reason, or is this something else? We need to look into it. Super D, thank you so much. You were 3.1, Thea 2.4 on the donations, and Wood USA 946. Thank you all for supporting the chat and the platform. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you, Thea, for the can. If you want to help out, Marshall, ko-fi.com/surfdog74. We will return on Wednesday. It's Thanksgiving Day weekend. Wednesday, I definitely will have a show. I will let you know about Friday. I'll probably do a show on Friday if I'm back and stuff. We'll see you on Wednesday, and have a good night. Marshall, your thoughts?
No, I just think you're going to see a huge change with this whole thing with Kelly and these 6 Democrats that did this little video. I think we're going to see a massive change that's going to happen, because it's going to trigger a lot of interesting things. And I think we're moving really in the right direction, in my opinion. So
yeah, I think so too. I mean, if you want a black pill, that's fine. I'm not taking the bait. I'm all in this. I could see the victory over the horizon. There are a lot of great things that are happening. You have to be patient. You really do have to be patient. Not everything's about you. I mean, honestly, you want to talk about individual things. What about the long-term predicate and premise and stage President Trump is laying down the foundation? He's putting the pavement in to retool. There's a lot of things I could bitch and moan about that I see what's happening with crime. I see people getting murdered left and right. White people getting murdered right. Don't get me started about that. We have a race war in this country. We have a minority problem in this country. We have illegal immigrant problem in this country. We got a lot of problems. We got a lot. So don't get me started about that shit. But that's my point. All right. We could all sit there and pick and choose and take the black pill and bitch and moan about something. But I do see the positivity on the corner. I really do. And I think that if we can just get this peace deal, this will be one thing on President. If this happens this week, this could be major. Be major for us. We're out of it. NATO, Russia, Europe, they're all overseeing this in some way. It's going to be beneficial to us in some way. And then, again, a promise that he kept, right? That everybody's saying, oh, well, there's a war ending. Hey, look, once that war ends, what do you think is going to happen? All right? We're going to go kinetic here. All right? We're going to have military all over the place. They've already been what? They've already been positioned all over the place. All right, Marshall. Have a good night. Take care.
Right.
Ciao, Bella, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.